All right, so this is Sandy Gilbreath. Sandy, welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry Podcast for the first time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited about this today. I appreciate this.
All right, so everybody knows we always try to be as transparent as possible. Sandy wears about 15 hats. She is probably the world's most famous caregiver,
Oh,
or
good.
if she's not, she's one of them.
You're being very generous.
She is obviously a mom. She is from down there in Georgia. She's up in the northwest corner of Georgia and is more southern than I am, but that's okay. Um, she is a travel companion, a world traveler. She's been in more countries than I have, which is saying something. And of course, she is curb free with Cory Lee's mom. So I'm tickled that you agreed to do this. So we're going to talk about caregiving.
All right, I'm
So
ready. Okay, thank you for that introduction.
let's go back a couple of years ago. You're in a little kind of small town, Georgia.
Right.
How did you go from Georgia to a world traveler caregiver? How was that transition?
It has been the craziest, wildest ride ever. And every day I tell my son, Corey, I'm like, every day I feel like we are winning the grand prize on Wheel of Fortune. I mean, that's what it feels like. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been crazy, but I mean, just to put it all kind of into perspective, I always tried my best to raise Corey that I didn't want him to focus on his disability at all. I wanted him to focus on what he could do.
Mhm.
So growing up, I tried to encourage him to be in plays, be in student government, be in, whatever clubs he desired, community theater. I tried to push as much as I could to help him to feel included in society as a whole. So as he got older, he wanted to go off to college, and my whole family was reluctant. And my dad, my mom, they're like, how can he go off and not be under your wings like he's always been, me taking care of him. But as I pushed him into college, and he wanted to go, as I didn't push him, he wanted to go, but I encouraged him, follow that dream. And he went looking for a job after college. He wasn't really having any luck. And as he started the blog and it grew and grew, it became more than just a hobby after college. It became a full-time career. And
Right.
we've been to tons of places I could have never afforded, never even dreamed it would be possible.
Did he go to college without a caregiver?
He went without me, which was what hurt me so bad. But no, he had a caregiver at college. And
Okay.
actually, the girl that went off to college with him was one of his best friends all through elementary, middle, and high school. And once he was ready to graduate high school and started talking about college, she said, I want to go with Corey. Like, she had been there. She even drove him and his prom date to the prom. I'm like, that's how close friends that they were.
Yeah.
She wanted to take care of him at college, and so she did. Her mom and I moved them into college in Washington D.C. for that first year, and it was 9 hours from home, and I cried that whole drive back to Georgia to leave him there with her. Even though I was comfortable, I knew her. Still, she was a kid too, to me, in my eyes. So
Yeah.
it was scary, but he survived, and he graduated with a degree in marketing.
All right. So now you come back and he starts the blog business,
Right,
and that leads into starting travel.
right.
Then did you move back into the picture as the caregiver?
Well, after not at first. When he graduated, he couldn't find a job. They weren't seeing past the wheelchair, he felt like, and so was I. It was getting kind of a depressing period there after
Mhm.
job interviews of getting turned away. So he asked after that, after his graduation, he was like, can I just move back home till I can kind of find a career or find what I'm going to do? Because he was getting turned down in so many avenues. And I was like, of course, come back home. So yes, I was becoming his primary caregiver again. But as he started, when the blog started growing, we did try to hire outside caregivers. I mean, that was never my goal, was to be there
to be a caregiver
24/7 and travel the world with him. I wanted him to be independent as possible. We just weren't finding any luck with someone that we could trust, someone that was dependable in that role.
And the biggest problem is dependability. So,
that's the main problem. Yeah, I mean, it came all the way down to his first big trip overseas. We did hire someone. She watched me give him a shower, get him up, get him dressed. Like, she came to our house several visits to the point that we were all comfortable. But then the week before the big trip overseas, she texted actually and said, I can't do this. And then I was working a full-time job. I had to ask off work, and I was like, we got to make this happen. I got to go. And so I did. And I've went ever since. Yeah.
All right. So now you're back in the situation where, I mean, you have your own blog, your own social media network.
Yeah.
By the way, folks, she just hit 20,000
Yes.
followers, which that's awesome.
Thank you so much. I was very excited for that.
Oh yeah, that's where I found out that you were Southern, because you were so excited talking about the 20,000, and I said, "Damn, she's more Southern than I am." So.
Yeah, my accent is hard to hide. I'm trying to talk plain and as quickly as I can, but I do have that slow Southern drawl.
Oh yeah, no, don't do that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, my Virginia twang is a little different than your Georgia's, but what the hell?
Right, as long as you can understand me, right?
Oh, sure. All right, so now you're back in the caregiving game.
Right.
Now, obviously, you and Cory have a special relationship. You have to have a special relationship for you to do what you do for your son.
Yeah, I agree.
What is the hardest thing that you have to do now as a caregiver?
I think the hardest thing now as a caregiver is probably, I don't know, I think kind of pushing outside my comfort zone and just saying, okay, yeah, I'm excited, let's go. Because really deep down, I'm thinking, and these trips sound amazing, but somehow these trips they're wonderful. I'm not complaining, but they all fall back on me to make sure he's up, he's on time, he's dressed, he's bathed, showered. Like, there's a lot of stress that goes with that.
Oh yeah.
Because I want him to succeed, but as smart and intelligent as he is and as hard as he works for all that he has accomplished, it still falls back on me to make sure that he's physically there and able to produce that day of the content that people are asking him to do.
And I suppose it takes somebody in the disabled community to understand where you're coming from. And I can't say that I'm lucky. I don't have the need for a full-time caregiver, thank goodness, at this point.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
It's probably coming. But the last 4 months, I was gone basically for 4 months, and I traveled with someone who became a de facto caregiver, which had its highlights and it had its low points.
Yeah.
And one thing, I'm not used to it. I'm used to doing everything solo.
Right.
But I'm still ambulatory for 6, maybe 7 steps, and that's it. If I go any further than that, even with I keep oxygen right here.
Yeah.
Because to stand up and walk across the room, I got to have it. 6 or 7 steps is as far as I can go, even with oxygen.
Right.
So I'm pretty much, and definitely when I'm traveling, I'm in
Oh,
the chair full time.
yeah.
So I'm very attuned and I work hard with folks on cruise ships on trying to make them more accessible. Do you find still that there's a lot of issues for you guys to overcome as far as barriers?
Oh, yeah. I mean, as far as the world has came just in the 10, 12 years we've been traveling, I mean, it's greatly improved in that amount
Oh,
of
yeah.
time. But every day, every hotel, every cruise ship, every trip we go on, when we go out of our home, we're going to find an issue. I mean, it's going to come. It might be small, it might be large, but we have to just be prepared for whatever it is as best we can and take it with I always say, there's just issues that need resolved. There's going to be problems, but we got to find a solution.
Yeah, find a solution somehow.
You have
I
to.
have, I have the same attitude. All right. So,
That's the way
how
I think your sound just went out. I think it's muted. I'm sorry.
there we go.
Okay,
Yeah, that should be better. Thank you. I bumped the wire and it pulled the plug out.
okay.
Okay, so let's go from ground zero. A decision or a call comes in and says, Cory, we want you in Tokyo.
Oh yeah.
All right. What's the decision making process like? I mean,
Okay.
not counting the money,
Right. Right.
whether to go or not go. Tell me about that.
Right. Well, usually, I mean, or always, the email will come into Cory. He is working all day looking at emails. I'm kind of doing whatever else in the house. When the email comes in and he's excited, he'll say, "Oh my gosh, guess what?" And I'm like, I can't even imagine what. Sometimes I'm like, I'm scared to ask. I'm like, what? And he's like, well, I just got an email, where they're wanting us to come to Tokyo. And he's always 100% of the time super excited. He's immediately checking his calendar. Can we make those dates work that they're wanting us to come? But me, on the other hand, I'm trying to be positive, but I'm like, well, when is it? What month? Is it cold there? Do we need big sweaters? Or are we gonna need, because he can't really function good in cold weather. So I'm automatically thinking, my mind goes to all those caregiving things of, how am I going to pack all these sweaters in this cold month? Or how is he's going to be so cold, his hands freeze up. He's not able to drive his wheelchair. And then I have to push him. And like, I'm in my mind thinking all these things. And then sometimes I'm wondering, how close is it to our last trip prior to that? Do I have 3 days at home to unpack and wash those clothes again, get everything prepared again? Or is it a week? Is it 2 weeks in between? But always 100% of the time, he's ready to go. I mean, if we're home more than 2 days, he's ready. But me, I'm the one kind of second guessing things and kind of keeping things in perspective, I guess.
Well, after being gone for 4 months,
Yeah.
I'm now at home until October.
Now
I've got a ton of medical stuff that I'm catching up on.
Yeah, there's a lot to catch up sometimes.
But I'm rather enjoying the fact that, at least some days I don't have to get up and kill myself.
Right.
Which is kind of nice. I mean, I do my show on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yeah.
So I'm up at 4:00 in the morning those days. Because I mean, I gotta see what's happened in the world in Europe and the world in Asia, and if there's anything news-wise to use on the show that day.
Right.
So I'm enjoying having some time at home. Unfortunately, my damn chair just broke.
Oh no!
So I got to deal with that tomorrow. And then just before I sent the link to you, I've got a lens that it ain't in his glasses.
Oh my goodness! I didn't even notice. Oh my goodness!
I have no idea where it is. Haven't seen it. Didn't hear it fall out.
That is awful. Well,
So,
I hope you find it.
I'm okay for this, but I'm going to have a hell of a time reading script for tomorrow. That'll be a tough one. But anyway, yeah, we'll make it work.
That's
So,
right.
all right, what is the easiest thing you have to do in dealing as a caregiver?
The easiest thing is traveling the world, of course, and seeing my son or spend time with my son living out his dream. I mean, I guess it was my dream too. I just never even dreamed it was possible to see
Yeah.
all the places we've seen.
Yeah.
But to see him live out his life with a career that he loves, that he enjoys, that he's helping other people to see what is possible, that's the greatest joy in my caregiving experience. It's just being able to take care of him so that he can do those things.
And I've dealt with a lot. I've never actually talked with Cory. I've never been in the same space.
Yeah.
We've never conversed about anything. I've talked obviously with a number of folks that you guys know. It's amazing to me, and I consider myself in one of those numbers that look up to Cory. He's like on a pedestal to a lot of us
Oh my
that
goodness.
want to emulate what he does. So,
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
and it's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
thank you so much. I am happy to hear when we meet other families, like at conferences. We just got back from the Abilities Expo in
Yeah.
Chicago, and we did a book signing. He and I had wrote a children's book together a few years ago, and we did a book signing there. And all the families coming up and just telling him, about the trips they've been on because they saw that we went there, and they read his blog post about it and knew what was possible. And it is so heartwarming just to see how much of an impact it's made.
Yeah. And that's so many of us, that's what we live for. For me to go out and somebody to say, if that old fat cripple guy can do this, damn it, so can I. And that's exactly right. Let's get off your butt and let's figure out how to do it and get you going. So
that's right. Just get them out there. There's so many things to see and do, and just to have something to look forward to, and to, even if things do go wrong, they might have went wrong at home too. Just get out there and see something new.
Probably so.
They would have.
All right, Sandy, what's next for you guys?
Next, we are home for a couple of weeks, which we are enjoying. We've not had that long of a time at home in a while, so I'm enjoying that time. And then we are headed off to a curb-free group trip in Italy, which is where we're going to spend 2 weeks there with a group of his followers and their families, and to tour around Italy.
Yeah. I just got back. That was the end of my 4 months away. I didn't get to spend any time in Rome, but I love Naples. Naples was probably my favorite.
I've heard it's gorgeous. We've not been.
It's a decent roll in most places.
Yeah.
Found a couple nice pizza joints. Matter of fact, I did a pizza review on the sidewalk pizza joint in Naples.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Have you been to Italy before?
We have. Yeah. We did Rome and Venice a few years ago, but we've not seen anything other than that. So.
Yeah, I like Italy. So, well, Sandy, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. I wanted people to get a feel of what it's like to be a caregiver.
Well, thank you so much.
One other question.
Yeah.
I know you're going to Italy. How far ahead do you guys work? How far are you booking stuff ahead?
Well, this particular trip, because it was a curb-free trip, it's a year in advance. So Cory had started planning it last year. And honestly, he does all the planning, all the tour, everything. Any trip we go on, he's working this group trip with Will the World, or if it's with a destination, he's working with the destination. Yeah. And I'm usually just like, where are we going? What time are we supposed to be there? Like, he's already planned it all. So that's kind of how that works. But usually on a normal trip, if it's just we're working with a destination to showcase what they have there that's wheelchair accessible, then it usually starts a few months ahead of time, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months at the most. But It's usually within the same year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had any problems on airplanes with the chair?
Oh gosh, every time. I mean, not every time. I don't want to scare people away from flying. It's not every time, but it's way too often.
Yeah.
It's never been so bad that it ruined the trip. We didn't let it ruin the trip, but it could have for a lot of people. I mean, one time we arrived in Egypt, it's last year or year before, his front right wheel had been broken off.
Oh
And
my.
I just had to kind of MacGyver. I got some butter knives in the hotel lobby. I travel with duct tape. So I duct taped some butter knives to make a splint for the wheel to hold it on. So I got creative. We held it on until the next day, and then we're able to find a wheelchair company there that was able to fix it within a few hours, and we were back on the trail
Back
again.
rolling. Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, you
That's
just think,
awesome. I've been lucky and I've had minor damage. My biggest problem with airplanes is I've always loved to fly.
yeah.
I know you can't tell, but I'm a big fat guy and I am so totally uncomfortable on a damn airplane.
Uh,
The seats are this big and I'm this big. It just doesn't work out very well.
yeah, yeah. I'm not a great flyer either. I usually try to just sleep the whole time. I get a little motion sick. I don't throw up or anything like that, but I do get kind of dizzy headed and just want to go to sleep till it's over. Cory, on the other hand, he's all in. He's ready to watch 10 movies and get a blanket and just ready to enjoy it all, but not me.
Yeah. Well, my weakness, as soon as I get the stewardess comes by, just, you have those little bottles of bourbon? Bring me one. I'm ready for a cocktail.
I watch
So,
people like you and I'm like, how can they drink right now? I'm already kind of dizzy headed and kind of, this
yeah.
oxygen and the elevation differentiation. I'm like, I don't know about this.
I've never had a problem with air sickness or flying or
That's,
motion sickness or seasickness. I mean,
uh,
I go through the worst storms in the world and think nothing of it. And
I,
I started cruising back, hell, before you were born, probably. I started cruising in the 70s.
wow.
And I mean, back then they didn't have, the stabilizers and
Right.
azapods and crap that they have today.
Done it.
So when a storm came up, I mean, you'd get banged on the walls,
Uh,
walking down the corridors.
yeah.
Never bothered me.
Oh my
So,
goodness. We went to Antarctica a few years ago
yeah.
and went through the Drake Passage. And oh my gosh. I mean, Cory, he was living his best life that night. I mean, he was actually on a drinking tour, like around the ship, having a grand old time. And I was in the bed in the room. Luckily, we took a friend with us, so they were out having a good time where I could lay down. But there was dishes falling off of the buffet.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
people in the floor. It was so rough. It even
Yeah.
emptied the swimming pool. The water was so rough that night.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. I don't want to do that again.
All right. Well, one thing to make sure on your scheduling, don't go to England in January.
Oh, cold.
That England and France in January, February, that sucked.
I can imagine.
I
Cold.
froze to death.
Yeah.
So,
We did Finland one year, and I mean, snow was so deep, and I froze absolutely to death. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Sandy, thank you so much. I do appreciate this. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate you asking. I had a good time. Y'all
Okay, Sandy. Thanks a lot. I'll get back to the news now.
All right. Thank you.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.